The final match is going to be played on the Bermuda Locket. Once again, the teams are a Chief Jaguar and this guy on the north side, and Strogo and Blinchick on the south. We've got UEF and Aeon, respectively, for the south team, in that order. Then on the north, we've got Seraphim for Chief Jaguar and Cybrin for this guy. So not going to be another double Seraphim team combination. There's a ping dropped. I'm sure that they're talking about something in the chat, but I know not what that thing is. I love how people in the Discord are pairing off for privacy in the 2v2 tournament. It's interesting, the chat rooms that they choose. Okay, we've got first land, second air for Chief Jaguar after 8 power generators, which does seem relatively conservative. This guy is going for a total of, holy smokes. So that's 12 power generators before the air factory, and his assisting engineer is standing on top of the air factory. So that's going to put him very, very late on his transport, which you do need to go after this side. Transports are lifesavers on this map because it is deceptively large, but this will give him extra power to immediately start dropping mass extractor upgrades and or going into Navy. In the previous game, we saw the Northern team delay a very long time on Navy, and it ended up being the end of them because they were not able to contest the hover span that was coming from the south side, the frigates that were coming from the south side, and ended up losing the expansions to that and a multitude of other causes. But the Navy game on this map is even more important than on Crossfire Canal. We've already got 2 naval factories queued after a bit of manual reclaim for Strogo, but we definitely need to see earlier Navy from these guys. So 1 is planned. That is not enough. Hopefully more build power gets dumped on it or more factories are queued later. Looks like there's no naval factory whatsoever planned for this guy. I highly disapprove of your choices, guys. Highly disapprove. There is a flare headed out across the map, so that early drop may have actually run into a bit of a problem had it gone over here. That is definitely a good proactive tool that Blinchick has put out to the front to try and deny any early expansions. Strogo going for a transport straight away, moving over to the left-hand side to contest Jaguar's hold, and we do have a transport up for Blinchick as well momentarily after a very confused build order of P-Gens. That would be 4, 9, and 12 on that build. So that makes me think that this guy was not off his rocker building that many power generators before the air factory, since Blinchick is also doing the same thing. We also had, I think, 11 or 10. I think 10 power generators before the air factory for Strogo. So Achieved is actually the odd one out with the amount that he built. Looks like this guy is expanding to the left? What? Why? Jaguar's already got his transport out, dropping an air factory on the far side, so he probably power stalled a bit harder than his opponent did, but he did get his transport out a little bit earlier, and I thoroughly do not understand what is going on. Why would you not contest your areas? Like, why are you stealing mechs from your teammate? Oh, Strogo is going to drop to the north instead of to the south. We're going to get a direct contest, 4 versus 3 though, and the reclaim is out much more quickly for Strogo than for this guy. A little bit of a blurb in microing there, and 3 out of the 4 engineers are going to survive, immediately dropping land factories, the same as Jaguar is doing. Assist on an engineer, so we're getting more build power up as quickly as possible to get even more things online. Your 2 biggest issues on the Bermuda Locket, let me control shift here so you can see the quantity of mass involved. Your 2 biggest issues are power and build power. You can upgrade mexes for a certain amount of time, and that will burn off the extra mass that you're bringing in, but eventually you run out of mexes to upgrade to T2. Then you need more build power. Or you can make build power at the start and spam the ever-living hell out of units, and just reclaim to your heart's content, because there's like some 40-odd thousand reclaim on this map, and you can just perpetually build more T1 and get more of the map under your control and reclaim more until you end up in your opponent's base. So there's a variety of ways that you can go with this, but again, the two most critical things are power and build power, because you don't have to worry about mass. That corner of the trifecta can just be completely disregarded. That was a beautiful engineer kill. That is going to be 4 engineers in one pass on Strogo's bomber, offering an instant veterancy, and it's now going to start killing off some tanks as it is able. Napalm dealing low amounts of damage over time in the Equilibrium mod, so moving units don't take much damage at all. This makes the T1 UEF bomber excellent in damage potential versus buildings, horrible versus moving masses of units. Although once you get so many units in one spot, it kind of reverses, because the napalm stays on the ground for a lot of time and it damages a ton of different units as they pass over. So you still get a huge quantity of AoE damage. Jaguar now dropping more engineers on this side. I am sure that since they are communicating in chat, something has been said about the weirdness of these mechs allocations, but this is one of the oddest builds that I've ever seen in my entire life. We've got more land factories going down for this guy, so we've got 2 players contesting the left side expansion, and Blinchik has just taken the right side uncontested. This is going to end very badly for them as Blinchik continues to scale up. So we've got assistance out in the center. Jaguar is trying to get out frigates as quickly as he possibly can. We do have an engagement going down in the center. Thunderhead versus Halcel. And can we comment for a minute on how weird the Seraphim naming scheme is? Because it is weird. This is going to end badly, because even though this is 1 frigate versus 1 frigate, or 1 frigate versus 2 frigates technically, even though one is on the other side, yes, the Chief Jaguar is moving his build power away. I was about to say, the build power is going to lose in this situation. Even if that frigate dies without killing another frigate, it's worth it in mass if it kills all the naval build power. We've now got full land spam coming up for this guy. Of course, these are some relatively constricted points, so unit stream is a thing, and he may have some difficulty regaining control of this entire area, considering the fact that there's already a total of 8 land factories online on that expansion. But hopefully he can do some contesting, because otherwise these guys are screwed. I am appreciative of Strogo's ability to fight against all odds. He's got 3 land factories up, building his 4th. Let's take a look at the eco. Relatively well balanced, although when he's in between reclaim, that does not look very pretty. He is going to lose this expansion in about a minute, because he doesn't have enough tanks to deny the push any longer. Blinchik getting interceptors over to the edge, but missing the potential on this transport, which is now moving down to the south side edge. Looks like Strogo's moving out with his ACU, though. This is very dangerous commander placement, because there are 5 factories online already for a Chief Jaguar, and 3 for this guy, and those would be able to swarm units over Strogo's ACU faster than he could get out. So I don't think this is going to end well for him, but kudos to him for being brave and trying to go the aggressive route. We've now got 2 frigates in the water versus 1 in the water for the north side team, and a 3rd has just exited for the south. Over on the right-hand side, we do have Auroras out in the water. Not so concerning if the south side team loses a little bit of headway on the naval game, since they do have hover tanks at the T1 phase. They can just move the Auroras out into the water and provide area denial while they get units back in the water. The north side is not going to have it quite so easy, because artillery cannot kill the frigates as well as the Auroras can, seeing as they miss anytime the frigates change direction. So both sides do have a little bit of denial at their disposal, but I think the Aeons are in a better place overall. That's going to be a push out, getting Strogo completely dead in that base. Dead as a freaking doornail, even though he survives in other areas of the map. And then we've got another air engagement in the center, favoring Blinchik. So to take in the map as a whole, it looks like we do have Navy advantage to the south, We have got air advantage to the south, and we have map control advantage once again to the south. I don't like the way that this is going for the north side team. We've got 2 subs out. Jaguar building subs exclusively as he struggles to get this naval fight under control. Of course, if you have entirely subs, the Auroras can't hurt you, but if you only have subs, you can't kill the Auroras before they come and kill your base. So there is a trade-off to be had there. This guy entering into the air fight, he is going to lose out to the combined forces of Strogo and Blinchik, escaping with scant few interceptors intact. As, yeah, they are going to pursue. So these guys are going to go for an airlock, if at all possible. I think the reason that this guy was engaging so far forward was because he went for a T2 Air HQ, which could lead to Corsairs, which would be good for his snipages propositions. But if he doesn't have air control, is not going to be able to make much use of that. I think, though, in Equilibrium, there was a rebalance to the air game where Corsairs and other fighter bombers are not quite so terabad in air fights on a mass-to-mass ratio. I could be wrong there. Somebody in chat correct me if I am. Blinchik with that amount of mexas, says Mistha. Yes, I know. Blinchik is at 77 base income with a full expansion worth of reclaim at his disposal. This guy succeeded in denying the other expansion for a period of time, and then has got his own reclaim well in hand, having established a bottleneck more than halfway across the arm, so his base is not really threatened. This is going to turn into nasty business for the north side very quickly if they don't do something to recover some map control. Let's take a look at the... Oh my. Look at the Auroras heading around the back. They're going all the way around the outside of the map, and they may not... Nope, there is a radar there. Okay. So that isn't what I thought it would be. They will be able to respond to a certain degree. Okay, Blinchik. 18,000 reclaim on 78 total income. 12,000 on 57 for this guy. 15,000 for Jaguar on 39. Then we've got 9,000 for Strogo on 41 income. So obviously, the left side player is gimped, but the right side player, who is arguably as good as or better in eco horror than Jaguar is, Blinchik is in control of an absolutely staggering amount of mass extractors, along with a huge chunk of reclaim. This is not going to end well if they don't do some raiding. We've also got a tac launcher. The Aeon tac launchers are not quite as handy as the Cybern tac launchers because they don't fire as quickly, the missiles don't travel as quickly, yada yada yada. But once they get into range, the Aeon tac missiles can sometimes dodge the TMD firing from UEF, Seraphim, and Cybern because they move in a little bit of a snake pattern, and the tac defense does have a projectile speed. Although, no, Cybern zappers I think are instantaneous, so they wouldn't be able to dodge Cybern zappers. But definitely the Seraphim and the UEF TMD. So that is not loaded up yet, and I think Blinchik may be in a mass stall preventing it from loading at all. Yes, that would be accurate. So the TML is up, but not firing. You want to get, if you're going to invest the mass into that, you really need to use it. Because as soon as your opponent scouts it, they're either going to T1 bomb it or build TMD or do whatever they need to do to negate the effectiveness of it. Now granted, they're going to be spending more mass on TMD than you did on the TML, so it can be worth it in that regard. But if you're going to build a tool like this, make sure you have the mass to actually load the thing and then kill some things. Looks like this guy has got T2 on his ACU, but he's not built any point defense as of yet. He may have tried to build a little bit further up, but it got erased instantaneously. There are Oblivion turrets online. No, yes, there are. I was about to say that was a T2 tank, but I was completely misreading the situation. We've got 2 Oblivion turrets up. 3 Oblivion turrets up, and a couple of T1 point defense on the front line. So this guy is not going to be able to get into range of that. But he is going to go for a stealth generator, which means Blinchik will not be able to see what he is doing despite the radar coverage. Strogo also has just finished the gun upgrade on the left-hand side, so he might be trying to push the next soon. Jaguar is getting... That is going to be T2. Is getting T2 on his ACU. That is a lovely little grouping of subs there in the Circle of Doom that we discussed before. Apparently it's a common misclick to, instead of placing a move order, put an assist order on top of a tank and then have that happen. So Cerberus turrets are going up. I definitely would have built a shield first in order to give these a little bit of extra HP, because versus 3 Oblivion turrets, that's not going to end well for you. I love how the Oblivion turrets pack themselves into the ground. I never noticed that before. So when units come in range, boom, they pop up and they get ready to fire. But they pack themselves away when they're not needed. Alright, Cerberus turrets, total waste of mass. So many Aeon T1 artillery, that is not even funny. And now that Blinchik knows that there's stealth there, he'll be able to move a T1 scout over occasionally and get all the intel that he needs. Chief Jaguar powering into the Navy game. He has got a vast horde of T1 subs. And those are going to start moving towards the south side, where they should be able to kill off most of the things that are in this bay. There's only 2 subs to counter. There's no destroyer out yet. There are 2 torpedo launchers, so that may cause a little bit of an issue with the subs actually doing anything. And more torpedo defense being built. See, this is where it gets a little difficult to tell what's going to happen, because the factories will meat shield to a certain degree versus the subs. Seraphim subs do have the worst HP, and Jaguar is targeting down the frigates as opposed to the torpedo defense, which I think is definitely the wrong route to take. He is now retreating post-haste due to seeing all of the torpedoes coming in from those torpedo defense. But he will loop around just a little bit to come in for another fire at those frigates. Yeah, you need to get the hell out, Jaguar. There's nothing for you there. Looks like this guy has finally entered Navy, and enter it with a vengeance he has. He's also got assistance on the Seraphim T2 from Achieved. So that's going to give them destroyers to work with, in addition to getting T2 air out for some torpedo bombers. And there is exactly what we didn't want to see happening. Achieved Jaguar's got tactical missile done. Well done there. But now the T2 power is probably going to get hit. This guy does know that there's a TAC missile. He has not built any TMD though. So land factory going down. I wonder if that was by merit of specific targeting, or if, I don't know. No. Okay, so going for the T2 power generators. That may have been a misclick target, or it may have been a collision. Let's see what angle the TACs come in at. Okay, so with their looping, weird, wavy pathfinding, that could have actually killed the factory by mistake, being aimed at something else. So we're going to run with that explanation, and you see what I mean by the Aeon TAC missiles potentially dodging the TAC defense of some of the factions. Zapper going down, hopefully that'll protect the base. Another TAC missile coming in, and you can see that no matter how much assistance you put on this, the reload time, well, no, it is cycling. So we are seeing, we are positive mass. Okay. The Aeon TAC missile is one of the ones that has to fully cycle. It opens and closes between each firing cycle, whereas Cybern just opens up and just fires all 4 of its missiles back to back to back to back. So that is something to keep in mind when you're building Aeon. If you store up a bunch of missiles in it, you're not going to be able to deliver them quickly. That one Zapper, I think I would build multiple, because there is still the potential that this TAC missile will not get shot down. Incoming, and Kerzap. That was not it, and still a miss. So it can effectively dodge the Zappers, unless they gave extra HP. Did Equilibrium change? Did Equilibrium change the HP on the Aeon attack missiles? Because it wouldn't surprise me if that's something that they changed. That might be the case. Seraphim Destroyer moving up to the front. It is going to be met by an Aeon Destroyer, but that Aeon Destroyer is going to take damage from a few torpedo bombers passing over. Of course, the Seraphim Destroyer with dodges will be able to negate nearly 100% of the damage that Exodus class can put out, so Seraphim Destroyer is going to be in a good spot. Air knocking all those torpedo bombers down before they can get a second pass, and the Chief Jaguar is just casually running all of his interceptors out of fuel at the back of his base. I need to check in with the TAC launcher upgrade on the ACU. He has now built, and it says that he's launching. Gotta finish those off, man. Gotta finish those off. Abuse that thing while you have it. We can see that most of this is in range, and yes, indeed, he did kill off T2 mass extractors there, and he's now killing off other things in the base. So that is quite nice indeed. Control K on the land factories. I'm not sure what that was all about, but he is going to be reclaiming, so probably dumping that into Navy. Getting a bulwark up ASAP so that TAC missiles cannot hit the naval factories. Although, nope, the hills are not in the way, so TAC missiles will be headed that direcciones. Is the bulwark? Why is the shield mounted so low on the bulwark? It barely protects anything. What is this? It's so low. You can see the entire shield bubble because it's all rendered, but like, look how low to the ground it is. It's definitely not that low in equilibrium or in regular balance. It has so much smaller protective diameter. That is weird. Okay, so notice of that aside, we've now got 2 Exodus class versus 3 Seraphim destroyers, and we do have the shield boat out, which is going to provide some good protection for those 2 Exodus class. The Uashaval, something like that. Seraphim names are hard. I think that sometimes people come to this stream just to hear me brutalize pronunciations of words that I can't say. Alright, that is going to be a T2 engineer, probably in order to build TAC defense around the rest of the base that has not already been massacred by the TML comm. And a Chief Jaguar is now free to move in on the left side. So this might not be as bad as I thought it was initially. Blinchik gets 164 mass income, which is quite large. This guy at 103 ahead of Jaguar, oddly enough, but I guess that shouldn't surprise me due to the fact that he stole a bunch of a Chief Jaguar's Mexes, achieved at 90 mass per tick and Strogo at 37. So the total mass income of the north side is greater than the total mass income of the south side. Jaguar forgetting to move his Navy, taking a few unnecessary hits from the Exodus that is going, no, just barely missing off the bow. Oh, you gotta move, Jaguar. Micro. You don't want to lose Seraphim destroyers for no reason whatsoever. Bulwark having to move up since it's barely even covering the Exodus classes from that close of a range. Looks like on the north side we do have a cruiser coming out now, so that can be used to lock the factories on this side, except that there is an Aeon cruiser out as well, both for anti-air protection and for TAC missile protection. We do have a massive spam of subs coming from this guy, though. I think we're rapidly approaching critical mass on the Navy. Jaguar losing his low HP destroyer, but he's now going to kill the second Exodus, leaving, nope, there's one out of the factory, so there is still one destroyer online and very scant few frigates to deal with the oncoming Navy. This is going to end with naval domination for the North team, as a fallback is happening on the left, or on the right side, I should say. Harbingers have come online. HQ built directly on the front line. 3 Harbingers already out in the world. 4, the one up there, should count as well. Those Harbies should be able to mow down tons of T1 units and secure this neck, getting Blinchik even more eco. Strogo has gotten himself into a pickle, though. I think that Strogo is not long for this world. He has got a huge number of Thams around him and is taking a horrendous amount of damage. Honestly, I would control K at this point just to ensure I killed as many tanks as possible. Walk towards the center of mass. There it goes. Strogo down, gifting his base to Blinchik, but that's not going to do any good because it is no share. That will disappear momentarily. It will give a few ticks of mass over to Blinchik, but not much else other than that. Okay, engineers, you need to start building land factories ASAP because I'm sure the Jaguar is going to reinitiate some land spam all up in here. Gunships moving down to the south side. Looks like the cruiser is going to be in a good position to knock those from the sky, though. Destroyers were not able to kill that quickly enough. There's now 2 Exodus class taking refuge behind the meat shield that is the engineers and the factory. Oh, Jaguar, you're leaving your destroyers way too still. You're also in range of the T2 torpedo launchers. That's going to be another destroyer lost right there with that collision of the projectile. And sad, sad day. I really thought they would be able to take that naval win, but Blinchik was able to get the tools in the water he needed to eliminate that threat. Up on the north side, we got 2 cruisers, 1 destroyer, probably enough for Jaguar to still contest. I don't think we're going to see a slip in the Navy, but on the right, this is a little worrying having this many T3 units come forward. There's enough T1 concentrated right now to eliminate these bots, but they are shrinking in number, and this guy is not building anymore. He's got a pile of gunships headed to the south side. Interceptors are probably more numerous for Blinchik, but the majority of them are out of fuel. There's a few Swiftwinds up on the north that should be moving south to help with the gunship problem, as we're seeing oh, that's beautiful, a T2 transport dropping a Harvey on the other side, or at least attempting it. There is an ACU in the way, so probably don't want to drop on the north side. Flak going down to help with the air control problem, and Jaguar bringing his interceptors to bear on Blinchik's air. That Harbinger is going to fly far around to the north side. It has been tagged by Inties, but those are going to move back down here. Jaguar may be about to lose a significant chunk of his base. Blinchik now at 124 mass income, slightly over half that of his opponents. Of course, 2 bases versus 1 base. That is not exactly a fair comparison. Blinchik will expand rapidly, though, and be able to re-secure most of this. But, oh, wall sections are a good idea as well. Anything to slow down the troops that are headed this way. Over on the left, gunships pulling up away from the air fight. But there isn't much of an air fight to be had anymore because Blinchik, through a combination of ground-based AA and Jaguar's interceptors coming in to bail out this guy's air. That is going to be an air loss for Blinchik, opening up an opportunity to use all of those gunships to do dastardly deeds to the south side in the future. 3 cruisers now going down. They were bringing their might to bear on the T3 HQ. There may be enough missiles in the air to finish that off as they continue to pound away at the HQ. But no, between the assistance of the engineers in the area and those cruisers dying and or having to retreat, that HQ will be saved alive. Jaguar finally microing his destroyers at least a little bit. He lost another. It is 2 versus 3, but Blinchik is leaving his destroyer still, taking a couple of missiles from the Seraphim cruiser before they finally get eliminated at the source. 2 Seraphim destroyers coupled with a massive group of subs, going to be more than a match for those Aeon destroyers. Exodus class going down left and right as artillery from Jaguar moves into the base. Now this is something that can get past that stupid torpedo defense. Gonna waste that build power, eliminate the HQ, and secure the naval win after the air win. Gunships are in the south side now. wrecking that expansion, killing off the build power, and slowly moving towards Blinchik's main base of operation as he throws down another T2 Air HQ, not HQ, support factory in an attempt to get more Swift Winds up. Gunships encountering heavy anti-air resistance. There is a stationary flak in place that will be able to shred those gunships. 2 dying at a hit. Large amounts of HP getting shredded off of those as I experience another severe voice break. And artillery is now hitting the base. So Achieved is going to be able to overwhelm the defenses there. And this guy can successfully say, or he can say that he successfully countered Blinchik at the neck. Misordering my words as I'm trying to get things organized in my head. Perhaps a drink of cool, clear water is in order. I honestly did not think that this was going to work for the North team. They both went into one expansion. They gave up the other expansion. No contest. And usually that would result in a loss. However, if you look at it from the standpoint of total eco, the north side had half the map, and the south side had half the map. But Dro was gimped in eco enough that 2 players spamming were able to overwhelm him on the over the course of the game. And Blinchik did not offer much help, though I don't think there was a lot of help that he could have offered due to the narrow choke points for pathfinding on that side. Land units are not going to be super helpful. You're going to have to either go into air or bring Navy to bear on the neck. So they were able to keep the ecos relatively similar, and then slowly over the course of the game eliminate 1 player, which then led to the collapse of half of the base. And now the north side has greater than 50-50 map control, has greater than double the income of Blinchik, and overall is going to be able to win this by sheer force of attrition. I really hope that I'm not getting sick. I hope it's just voice loss. Alright, T1 bombers coming out to try and deal with this, but obviously in the face of this amount of interceptors, it's not going to do much good. The death of Strogo was a decision, says Mr. Green Tabasco. They managed to win it in tactics. Yes, that is absolutely the case. So I don't think that Harbinger drop was successful on the north side. I think it was killed off by interceptors, although I did not see it specifically. And then we do have total air domination by the north side. Look at the quantity of interceptors being fielded by this guy. How many air factories do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus the T2 HQ that is being ridiculously heavily assisted to build Corsairs. A beautiful thing to behold indeed. I don't care about my inty numbers anymore. Your flak doesn't matter. I can build more than you can kill. Maybe not the wisest of choices. More Oblivion turrets along with missile defense coming up on this edge. Looks like cruisers are being brought to bear on the HQ once again. Saving it from doom at 3,000 HP. No! Okay, so the consistent fire rate of the cruiser will be able to trigger both volcanoes and then slip a missile in. So every other missile is connecting with the factory. When this third volcano comes up, it may succeed in stopping that, but we're now within range of a single missile. No. Okay, so the build power rescue is real. Wasting mass to keep that T3 HQ alive as the home base falters. Corsairs now coming in for the final run at the ACU. At least I hope. No, they are still targeted down on power. What on earth are you doing, guys? The ACU is right freaking there. You killed all the T2 power generators. You killed all the valuable stuff. Just destroy that ACU. Down to 800 power, 24 mass income due to the massive power stall that results from losing all of your power like that, and also assisting the heal on your T3 HQ to that degree. And Blinchik is now left standing alone at the front of the base, defending against all of these artillery that are coming in. Of course, there are some point defense to back him up, but I think that is all for naught, since we've got 2 cruisers now bearing down on the base. A T2 power generator has completed. More are in the works. That is going to bring the power total back up over 1K, hopefully resulting in some good things. But I don't know that Blinchik can do anything about this. It is pretty well set in stone what the results of this game are going to be. One thing that sucks about Seraphim destroyers is they're not really able to shoot on land. Those beam weapons are pitiful for overcoming terrain. Something to think about that I've mentioned before in the far distant past. Seraphim and UEF have shorter range destroyers. They are the 2 factions that get cruisers, and this is not a coinky-dink. It gives them the ability to harass land targets, but it also gives them the ability to counter T2 torpedo defense. You will notice that a Seraphim and UEF destroyer cannot kill a T2 torpedo defense without taking fire. They have too short a range. But the cruisers can. The Aeon and Cybran do not need that same ability because their destroyers can outrange the T2 torpedo defense. So that kind of fits nicely into the philosophy of everything having a counter in Supreme Commander, where you can't overspam any one specific defensive unit and not have an offensive unit be able to break it. Fire bases are not a thing that will succeed forever. Okay, Blinchik is finally down as the rest of the base continues its disintegration. And that means that a Chief Jaguar and this guy are going to take the win. Let me double check before I end this video that it is not a true best out of 3. I think it's a best out of 3 because of the previous game that they played. The winners of the loser bracket have to win twice, but yes, okay, I'm correct in that. The winners of the winners bracket have already beaten the losers bracket once, so that counts for the 3 wins. Alrighty guys, that is going to wrap up this tournament. A rather epic one, if I do say so myself. The first couple of games kind of put us off to a rough start, but once we got into solid teams, we were able to see some excellent examples of gameplay, of strategy, people working together, people not working together, and it all came together for a win for a Chief Jaguar and this guy. Kudos to Blinchik as well. I saw some exceptionally strong games from him, and Strogo, of course, helping to pull them to the semifinals to take the 2nd place. That is going to wrap everything up for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like and share it with someone. If you want to support the channel, catch the streams, or join the Discord, check out the links in the description. Thank you all for being at least partially insane, and I will see you in the next one.